Today is the last day of fasting. Tomorrow is Eid. Most likely. It depends on the moon and stuff, but hopefully today is the last day of fasting and tomorrow is Eid. I'm going to be doing a 48-hour reading vlog, so I'm just going to track my reading today and tomorrow. I want to get at least 3 books read. So let me show you a couple of the books that I'm reading. The first is this one. This is called The Sorcerer's Conquest, which is the first book in the Inixa series by Mikhail K. Khan, a lower YA fantasy book that is written by an independently published Trinidadian writer. I got this book from Taryn's bookstore. I'm doing like a little collaboration with them where I read a couple books and do some recommendations videos. The other 2 books I've made good progress with. This one I've been reading since the beginning of the year. This is Lakshmi Prasad's Butterfly in the Wind. I actually read 130 pages, so I only have like 70 pages to go. This is a modern classic in its own right, set here in Trinidad, and I just want to finish it. I've been reading it for too long. And finally, I started a book 2 days ago, and this is Zahra Hussain is Here by Sabina Khan. You might recognize this name. She is the author of Love and Lies of Rukhsana Ali, which is a book that I absolutely adore. I'm almost halfway through. It is going good. It's definitely just as compelling as her first book. She knows how to write a story that will grip the reader, and her books are also very easy to read. I'm going to do some reading today, and I also have some work to do, and obviously it is the day before Eid, so we will be making some minor preparations and stuff, but because of COVID and because of the fact that cases in Trinidad are awful and worse that they've ever been for the entire pandemic, we're not going to be having like guests over or anything, so Eid is going to be very quiet, and there's not going to be a lot of work going into Eid like there usually is every year. But first, I have to tend to my plants. I have a plant that needs repotting, and then I have another set of plants that need a little treatment for bugs, so I'm gonna do that, and then we'll get into reading. Okay, so this is my gizzard leaf, and it needs to go in this bigger pot here. It's doing fine. Like yesterday was in a really bad way, but I gave it some water and it perked up. But I think I still need to repot it because this pot is really small, and I think it would look good in a bigger pot. See? My knees are killing me right now, and unfortunately I don't have a lot of experience on my knees, so this is just not fun right now. Okay, so I'm done, I think, and this is the final product. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully I created a well-draining soil, because I'm terrible at creating well-draining soils. Let's see. I'm not seeing any water coming out. I'm a little concerned. And yeah, I ain't seeing no water coming out. I'll just put it out in the sun to like dry and stuff. Okay, so this is my coleus. It's really pretty, right? It's doing well, but it has some mealybugs. I got rid of most with an insecticide spray, but I want to give it another treatment. But I don't want to use the insecticide spray, so I made this this homemade solution, the recipe of which I got from an old white man on YouTube. So we'll see how that goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat it with this spray, but first I want to see if I could find any of the little mealybugs and remove them with some rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip. So, we did it. It's 3 in the pot, so 1, 2, 3. This one used to be big, but the millibugs kind of got the best of it. But yeah, look at how pretty it is, and this one is even flowering. So yeah, this is my gizzard leaf in the new pot. I also have behind that a calathea. Given me a lot of trouble. I've been struggling with it, but it's putting out a new leaf now, which is really good. And then over here I have a peace lily. And I have a snake plant in the back there. And just to quickly show you my indoor plants, well, the plants that I have inside my room. So this is my pothos, which you would have seen in the video earlier. And then on top here I have a snake plant, another snake plant, then I have another pothos, and then my final plant is this cute little Swedish ivy or creeping Charlie that I recently potted. So that was a lot more laborious than I expected it to be, and yeah, I thought that I was going to have time to do reading today. I spent way too long taking care of the plants, and now I have to go help my mother in the kitchen make barfi for Eid. So my plan for the rest of the day is to first of all do that, and then I have a paper to work on for a conference that I'm presenting at the beginning of June. So I don't know when I'm going to get time to read today. Why did I decide to do this vlog? I don't know, but I would like to at least finish this book today. This is Zara Hussein is Here. I'm about 100 pages into this book and I'm enjoying it so far, but I do have a couple of issues with it. What I like about the book is that the chapters are very short, it's really easy to read, and it's a very compelling story. One thing about Sabina Khan is that she's going to give you a really, really compelling, very interesting, high stakes, intense contemporary novel, because that's exactly what she did with this book here. You might recall Love and Lies of Roxana Ali. There was a point in time on my channel where I could not stop talking about that book because I really love it. This one I'm not loving as much so far. It's a story about this girl named Zara Hussein who is experiencing a lot of Islamophobia and racism at her school, particularly at the hands of this bully named Tyler, who at the beginning of the book the bullying is very casual and it's bad, but it's not like terrible, and then it sort of escalates later on in the story. I live in a West Indian household. My main issue with it is kind of the themes of the book. Not really the themes. The themes are fine. It's just the way that the author is addressing the themes that I have an issue with. And that's that. I just feel like everything is a little bit too on the nose and a little bit too in your face. Like, the book is trying to be really woke and really activist, and I feel like at sometimes it's very explicit, which makes sense because it's a YA novel and YA novels tend to be a little bit more in your face, but I find it to be a little bit too on the nose to the point where it's a little bit cringy, and like it's not saying anything wrong, like the book is not incorrect about anything particularly, but it is just a little bit too on the nose and a little bit too in your face. One of the things that I have been kind of enjoying though, one of the dynamics in the book is the relationship dynamic. So there is kind of like a background love triangle situation going on. So basically the main character has this friend named Nick who she's been friends with her entire life, and she really, really loves him. Well, loves him like a brother, but also she has like a little, you know, a little thing for him, and he has a little thing for her. But then this girl comes into her life named Chloe, and she starts dating Chloe, and she really, really likes Chloe, but the guy Nick is kind of jealous of Chloe. So that's kind of like the background conflict that's happening in the story, and I've been enjoying reading that as well. So I like that, and I like the kind of high stakes aspects. It's just the themes of the book that I kind of have a little bit of an issue with, and again, not the themes themselves, but the way that they're kind of addressed in this story. So it is literally 24 hours later since my last update. It is the day after Eid. I did not update y'all any bit yesterday. I did not vlog anything, and I don't know why I continue to do reading vlogs since I'm so terrible at them, but maybe part of why I didn't vlog yesterday was because I didn't really have anything much to say. The only thing I did was finish Zara Hussein is Here, and I didn't really have much to say about this book because my thoughts on it are very much the same. I enjoyed the plot and the pacing. I'm glad that it kind of got me out of my reading slump. This is the first book that I've read for the year. Yes, we are in May, and this is the first book that I've read for the year. So I'm glad that it got me out of my reading slump. I'm glad that it got me back into reading, and I enjoyed the pace of the novel itself. As I said, Sabina Khan really knows how to write a high-stakes contemporary novel. The thing that I did not like the most, as I said before, was how on the nose the activist and social justice themes were. I just found that to be a little bit cringy and corny at times, I have to say. When I'm reading a book, I'm sorry, I just don't want to hear about microaggressions. I don't want to hear the term microaggression. You could talk about microaggressions, but I don't need to hear the terminology and the jargon, because for me, something about that just makes the story a little bit less I don't know. That's just a personal thing for me, and I'm not the target audience, and I understand how that could be beneficial for like who this book really is targeted at, which is like, you know, American teenagers, right? So it could be an educational experience for them. So I'm not saying that the book should have been any different. It's just that for me, I prefer something a little bit more mature when it comes to the ways in which these kinds of themes are addressed in a book. I will say that if you're looking for a book about Islamic faith and identity and being a Muslim, this is not the book for you. It does not talk about that whatsoever. The main character is not a religious practicing Muslim. She says that from the beginning of the novel. She said that she is Muslim in more of like a cultural way, which that is a whole can of worms that we're not going to open up in this video, because I know that's a huge debate amongst a lot of Muslims. So I'm not going to go there, but just don't go into this book with the biggest of expectations. If you're looking for something sweet and fast and short and that deals with themes of like immigration and the immigration system in America and discrimination and Islamophobia, read this. But if that's something that you feel a little bit burnt out on, which I know a lot of people are because these books are becoming quite ubiquitous, and if you're looking for something that's more about like Islamic faith and identity and being at the intersection of Muslim and queer, this is not the best book for you. But otherwise, it's fine, and I'd still recommend it. Okay, it's the next day. I look horrendous. I should end the vlog now because it's probably been well over 72 hours. But last night I did start this book, Inixa, and I made it more than halfway through. So I'm on page 57, and this book is only like 95 pages long. So I'm gonna finish it today, and then I'm gonna come back and talk about it, and then I'll end the vlog. But so far it's good. It is it's interesting. It's like a YA fantasy. We're following this like warlock. We're following a couple different characters. So the first one is this warlock who's like evil, and he's a tyrant, and he's like making things difficult for everybody in the kingdom or whatnot. And then there's his granddaughter. He has like lots of kids and lots of grandkids, but his granddaughter is the only one of his descendants who is like worthy of becoming his apprentice. So she's kind of like learning his magic. And then we're also following like one of his servants, well, this guard or assistant guy who like works for him or whatnot. And he doesn't really like the warlock because he's like, you know, you're such an evil person, and he's trying to find a way to defeat him. So that's pretty much everything that's going on right now. But I will let you know my full thoughts when I'm finished with it. Not my cup of tea, but I'm actually intrigued and impressed by the book for what it is so far. So I will let you. What is it? Oh, that's a pimple. I'll let you all know when I'm finished. Alright, so it's about time for me to finally end this damn reading vlog. I stepped outside a bit just to change scenery. Not that the scenery behind me is that great. But I finished The Sorcerer's Conquest. It was only 100 pages, and I liked it. It was definitely not my cup of tea because this genre in general is just not for me. Like YA fantasy is just not my thing. And this book does have its, you know, cons in terms of being a short book, in terms of, you know, just doesn't really give you a lot of time to grow with any of the characters or get particularly attached to them or invested in their stories. That was the pump. But it was still interesting enough. It kept me on my toes. It was still a very engaging story, and I was invested in it. To be honest, I thought I was going to be bored, and I thought I was just going to skim and not retain anything. But I very much enjoyed the story itself, even though it's obviously not the best thing I've ever read. So that's my thoughts on this book. The reading vlog was somewhat of a success. I read 2 of the 3 books that I said that I was going to read, and they weren't great by any means necessary, but they got me back into reading. I'm finally reading again after months of not reading. Obviously, in future videos, I will update you on what other books I read, and I'll do my little May wrap-up or whatnot if I read enough books this month. But other than that, that brings me to the end of this video finally. So in the comments down below, definitely share your thoughts on any of these books if you've read them, which you probably haven't because these are not necessarily the most popular books. But I love talking to y'all and hearing your thoughts anyways. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day, and until next time, inshallah, keep reading.